Hey, hey everyone. Welcome on this beautiful sunny day. So I wanted to share some passages with you from what I've learned last night about, how sometimes our, like happiness and, just, you know. So one thing I wanted to know is that we gotta learn, like happiness is just about what we see about ourselves and how we feel about ourselves when we're by ourselves, like, because what it is that we always just, people just, I see it around me, but now, but, I pretend I don't know, but somehow I see it, people are just so absorbed in gossip and envy, like, all the tainted, and all these, like, perceptions about what they think it should be, like, like I see it around me, like, social circles just engaged in all that kind of gossip about one another, and, but, anymore, just, my decision on just not going to my high school reunion was just more for personal reasons and financially, like, it's a financial drain. I got so many things I want to do, and like, and more so, it's just, if I went there, I just feel more alone, but the thing is, a lot of people have moved on, but if I ever am back in my hometown in Swift Green, like, if I ever could, I'd just run into any of my old friends that still lives there, and we just catch up for a bit, So, anyways, I wanted to talk to you about, like the things, like some of the verses that were explained on like, and on the Bible, and how they kind of relate to everything in real life, and like you feel like sometimes you feel a little jealous about others, and like it really, and you really kind of, and you ever wonder, how do you actually get over this kind of thing, like, like it was said on 2 Thessalonians, and on chapter 2, verse 2. Well, in chapter 2, like at the beginning, like we know about, to be clear about the second coming of our Lord. Like, don't be deceived by those who say that it's already begun, because don't believe them, because that they have that vision, revelation, or letter that they say it from us. Like, don't be fooled from what they say, because there's going to be a day when people are going to turn against God, and then and the Antichrist is going to be revealed. Like, like he will exalt himself and defy everything that people call God, and every object that they will worship. He'll even sit in that temple and claiming that he himself is God. Like in verse 5 says, but verse 6, like verse 5 to verse 6, like like it's like Paul told everyone when he was with them. He told, like, what's holding him back. It's only revealed when his time is coming. Like the lawlessness is already secretly at work, and it's only going to remain secret until the one who holding it steps back out is actually then steps aside, and then that anarchic man will be revealed. But he will be destroyed, because, like, this Antichrist is going to do the work of Satan with the counterfeit power in these so-called miracles, Every kind of evil deception will fool those on their way, who are on their way to that destruction because they refuse to love and accept the truth that would save them. So God will cause them to be greatly deceived. They will believe the lies, and they will be condemned for enjoying the evil than believe in the truth. And we should all be. But for those who believe in God, we need to hold firm. We can't help but thank God. Like, we will always be thankful that God chose you to be among the first to experience the salvation. One that only comes through the Spirit, that came through the Spirit who makes you holy, and through your belief in the truth. He called you to salvation when we told you the good news. Now you can share it. But with those things in mind, like, you need to be firm and keep your firm, strong grip on the teachings. Like he will. And in chapter 3, we need to have our prayer, even if it's just a silent prayer. Pray for the believers. Like, like on verse 3 verse 2 says that pray that we will be delivered from the wicked and the evil people. For not everyone is a believer. But, like, yeah, 2 Thessalonians, like, 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 what it means is, like, the worst like, put it like, here's what the worst punishment of hell is, like, there'll be judgment, like, when Christ comes back, the unbelievers will face judgment for refusing to believe. And there's endless agony. They'll be doomed to exist in such a torment with Lucifer and his demons. And it's like when you'll be burning endlessly, it's like endless burning pain, You'll feel so much regret, like, you'll just, it's like you'll be grinding away with your teeth to no end, like, and you'll just feel hopeless, there's no hope, but those who know Christ, those who know Him will will have so much to gain, but those who don't know him, they have everything to lose, you know. But we have so much to gain, but we should have nothing to lose, though. But we can look forward to his return, you know. Yeah. The thing is, like, we need to really hold steadfast, you know. Because what's happening right now is that, yeah, like, then I looked something on a webpage about what June of this year holds in great significance to the biblical prophecies, you know. Like, then, like, what it does is, you know, there's something about between 2018 and 2028 that Jesus will come and will bring us to, and will actually, like, and will deliver us, you know, because something about this year is what has been very significant, you know. Like, well, of course, the beginning of the decade was the pestilence of COVID-19. Then the wars between one nation and between, like, nations, and then now the injustices that are being thrown around, you know. People, like, being wrongfully convicted and such, you know. And then finally, like, just as early this year, when Hollywood burned down and revealed it because God remembered her sins, you know, like, it means that these things are not coincidental, because in real life there is no such thing as coincidences. You know, like, and these judgments will not be undone, you know, and, you know, like, and, you know, like, then I wonder something about the World Wide Web, of how each W also represents a number 6. WWW would be 666. And each of those 6s represented a bad thing. Man, serpent, and Lucifer, you know. Which means we need to use the internet to spread the gospel before it is too late. Because when the Antichrist comes, he's going to use it to manipulate us and enforce the system of the beast, you know, because, yeah, financial ruin, and, you know, but there is so much that we could lose, you know. So those of you who are watching this, we need to hold steadfast to claiming to the gospel, and, you know, and we also need to know that sometimes even the biggest sinners become the boldest preachers, because to them they've already been through hell, and now they've reclaimed their faith in God, and have stepped out of that hell that they were in. So, you know, like, it really comes down to a lot of things, like sometimes the only way out of that hell is to go through it, you know. We have to go through that hell just to actually, like, teach others, so that they won't have to go what we've gone through, you know. You know, like, you know, many people have already done so much. It's, you know, like, they've and they end up becoming like the kite in a hurricane, like no control. Like they've left, like they're like, and they're like being tossed around in the turbulence of society, not knowing where to, and they can't even control themselves. Yeah, a lot of people, even a lot of teenagers have been that way too. And there's been a survey that has shown that 47% of teenagers in the UK just wish that the internet never existed, I think sometimes in other ways, like, that kind of burnout would make anyone believe that to be free again, that the internet has to be destroyed one way or the other. I mean, but when this old heaven and earth is gone, it'll all be wait to a blank slate. Anyways, I've said enough, so I just wanted to, and my final advice is, just don't let others don't let others bring you down. Like, it's easier said than done, but you gotta do it. Because the best life is always on the narrow road, and it's always filled with twists and turns and bumps. It's the faith that keeps you, I mean, when you're envious of others, like, it's like you just want them to lose everything. It's like when you're trying to put a burning block of coal only in your pocket just to throw it at something that's at the one you envy. But you're the one that ends up getting burned because your clothes will catch fire. And trying to get up there in your ego, is really like you're wearing armor made of paper, You easily get wounded by a butter knife. But here's something there was something I read that best just, well, it's not in religious context, but more of like an indigenous, but a shaman was asked, what is poison? And this is what he said: anything beyond what we need is poison. It can be power, laziness, food, ego, ambition, vanity, fear, anger, or whatever. So, anyways, I've said enough, so I'm just gonna end this video here. So remember, just keep your faith up, and you'll get the life you really want. May glory be with God, and amen to all of you. Bye.